Well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I'm your host once again, Dan Thornton. And as you could probably tell because I'm on the air and it's after 7 p.m., we've got some breaking news if you're a Detroit Lions fan. You know, we were speculating in the earlier day breaking news story when we found out that Carlton Davis III restructured his contract in order to free up $4.5 million in cap space. We thought to ourselves, so a lot of you guys in the comments section, the chat, had questions about, man, what could be going on? Why would the Lions do this? And I think now we know. In case you're unaware, now former Ravens guard Kevin Zeitler has signed with the Detroit Lions, and this is just minutes ago. Sorry, I know some of you guys were texting me and saying, hey, get on this, get on this. I had to make a thumbnail. I had to get done eating dinner, things of that sort. Actually had to do my job a little bit here, but my other job, I guess, as a realtor. So I had to finish some stuff up. Full details about the contract aren't on his way, but I'm going to give credit where credit's due. This is per Adam Scheffler of ESPN, and I get most of us know who that is, but if you don't now, you know he is one of the insiders, I guess you could say, in the industry. Our reports are that Zeitler is on his way to Detroit to take a physical and then sign the paperwork. Assuming all goes well with his checkup, this is per Adam Scheffler. Quote, Zeitler intends to sign a one-year deal to join the reigning NFC North champs. If you aren't aware of this guy, he's going to be a fill-in, sort of like Graham Glasgow. We speculated this when Glasgow signed that, hey, this is probably a sign that Jonah Jackson is going to be on his way out of the Detroit Lions organization. That did come to fruition. I want to say literally just like 2 or 3 hours later. But we also speculated, could the Lions have been saying that, hey, we can't afford to sign Jonah Jackson and other people, but now I'm going to go out of my way and assume that the Lions are going to get Graham Glasgow along with Zeitler and do so at a less of a cost than just resigning one Jonah Jackson. To me, hey, you're getting a guy who's got a ton of experience. He made the Pro Bowl with Baltimore last year. And he's started just under 200 games in his career. I want to say it's 188 games, and he's done so for the Ravens, the Browns, the Bengals, the Giants. 12-year career, and now he's going to add yet another team to that resume with the Detroit Lions. He and the Lions will be hoping this partnership spurs the team to even further results next year. I'm going to say we've been all speculating, throughout the free agency period that, man, oh man, the Detroit Lions really only have a couple quote unquote holes, guard being one of them. And you know what? It's less of a hole now than it was just an hour or so ago. I think this is great news. We're all going to look at this and say, man, really in the draft, the Lions can go anywhere they want. I mean, heck, if they want to trade up and go for this guy and that guy, whether it's offensive line, defensive line, they probably really do have that luxury. We've also talked about the fact that, they probably do need to get some better options on the offensive line for backup purposes. Last year, if we all recall, there were a couple games when the Lions offensive line was a little beat up, and, not to point out names, any of the backups that came in that provided pass rush onto Jared Goff, we all could see how that kind of broke down the offense, threw Goff off. Can't say that a whole lot in a row, but you get the idea. No matter what they do in the draft now, even if they go up and get an offensive guard, someone like Jackson Powers Johnson, this guy is going to add, if nothing else, depth to that offensive line. Let's see what you guys have to say about it. Real quick, before we get to the comment section, though, if you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing it. We're making a push to get to 6,200 subscribers. We just hit 6,100 today. So if you got a free second, you were so willing, hit that subscribe button. Also hit the thumbs up button. All right, let's see what you guys have to say. Trump's a genius. Woo! The first woo of the show. Justin is all thumbs up about that. Chrome, yo, back at you. Mr. Nico, let's go 100%. Dennis, let's go. Chrome, let's flipping go. Yes, I concur. Alan, it's being reported by Scheffler, so I'm going to say it's probably as official it can be until he signs. And that's also probably why we don't have any kind of information pertaining to the actual amounts of the contract. But we all speculated earlier today that when Davis III restructured his contract to free up $4.5 million in cap space, we all said, man, this kind of smells like the Lions are making a move for potentially another player or two. And what do you know? Just hours later, we got another player. Joseph, go Lions, 100%. 9 drinks. Woo! There you go. Chrome, this is huge. I'd agree, man. Like I said, defensive end. I get we're all probably wanting a bigger name signing there. We didn't get that, but you know what? We did get some signings there. Offensive line, There was a question mark about a guard position being, a hole potentially. Now, if you do add some more people, hey, it's just more depth upon depth. We talk about the secondary. Man, we have got more depth at that in the cornerback room than we've potentially ever had that in my lifetime. I'm going to be 52 this year, so I'm going to say this. Yeah, we've got hellacious depth at safety and cornerback, and now potentially offensive line. King of Lions, I can't know what that means, but I'm going to say yes. I'm going to agree that it's probably a good thing. So sorry, man, if my graphics didn't pull that one up. Hat man, thanks, Dan, man, for the updates. Hey, think about 5 or 6 of you guys for texting me over. And when I had the notification on my phone when it came out, but like I said, I was finishing up real world work stuff, trying to get some stuff done. I was trying to race through it as fast as I could to get this up here for you guys. All right, D13, big upgrade from Jonah. Yeah, you know what? Hey, we could go in without the draft right now. And I would say this, without the draft, I'm going to ask you guys, is this team better? I'm going to say just from free agency, and I get it's all on paper at this point, but look at the team that walked off the field in San Francisco. Look at the team as it sits now. Can you look at the team now and say it's better? I'm going to say it's noticeably better. A lot of the weaknesses have been shored up, and you've really lost very few people. I want to say only 3 people. Anthony Pittman, one of them. I get he's a special teams ace, but I'm going to guess you can replace him. Glasgow and, oh boy, I'm going to kill his name now. Zeitler, are going to replace Jonah Jackson. And I'm not sure if there'll be a difference for sure, but is it going to be a noticeable difference? I'll let you debate. The wide receiver room, it's mostly intact. We'll find out what's going to happen with Josh Reynolds, although I do suspect he's going somewhere else. And now we still have the draft to add on top of what we've done in free agency. We're all going to point out, hey, Green Bay's improved, Chicago's improved, but so have the Detroit Lions. And I'm going to say this. Can you think of, and I'm not trying to be a homer when I say this, but can you look across the NFL and look at another team and find one that's improved more than the Detroit Lions? That'll be my question for you, and maybe even tomorrow morning's topic on Lions Talk Live, 7 to 8 a.m. Boat revelation, 100%. Polar Bear, woo! Thought Brad needed an OG. He filled in the holes like he said he would. Yes. And, he gave us a warning before free agency began. He said, hey, your guys are going to probably think we're trying to win spring, and we're not. That's not what we're about. And I'm paraphrasing here, so if I mess it up, forgive me. I said, hey, we're just going in. We're trying to get ready for the season, not, headlines in the spring. And while a lot of these signings might not be the big name guys, I think we can all say that he's hit some home runs potentially here on paper, but we'll see what happens in the regular season. D-Ray, I'm pumped for this signing. Yeah, me too, man, 100%. Scott, Pro Bowl, O-line, question mark? Yes, please. Adding strength to our strengths, exclamation points. Yeah, and I agree, man. It's getting way better. All right, Mr. Nico, this makes me so intrigued about how the draft will go. Man, my friend, you are not wrong. Because, man, we can go any which way but loose with this. We can go. Is there a spot in the draft we can't target now? If some player just happens to fall down to us at 29, that really shouldn't be there, and they're this position or that position, we have the luxury, in my opinion, to go after it. Now, it doesn't mean that's what we'll do. We may have some targeted interests, but I'm going to say this. The Detroit Lions could still, if they have another quote-unquote Brad Holmes draft, this team might just be off the chart. All right, Michael, wait, great exclamation points. Go Lions, 1,000%. Scott, sounds cool. Good. Thanks for the info. Anytime, my friend. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Jason, have you heard anything about Odell Beckham Jr. signing with Lions? I've heard some speculations about it. To me, and this is me being as brutally honest as I can be, I think if you sign him, you're signing a name, not a player that's as productive as he once was. I think you're buying the player that he once was versus who he is now. I'm going to assume, since we're so good at scouting players for the draft, I'm going to assume, unless he's going to sign an incredibly team-friendly deal, that's really not an option. All right, but maybe it does happen. Who knows? Maybe they evaluate him and say, hey, he's better than we anticipated. Robert, oh, yeah, 100%. A lot of exclamation points there. Brent, yes, strongest part of our team stays that way. Yes, it does. And you know what? What's going to happen in the draft? Robert, strengthen your strength. I agree with that. Bo, staying strong, agreed. Brother Ken, I just checked the wires. It's official. All right, fair enough. So if you guys, just because I don't want to check everything on the interweb while I'm online or on live with you guys, if you get numbers for it, go ahead and post in the comment section, please. Michael Zeitler graded way better than Jackson anyways. Hey, there's that to be said too. D. Ray Odell isn't coming here. He's a drama queen. I'll just say, hey, there's probably not much chance of him coming here. All right, Ed, what do you got? It is an upgrade or a lateral move. I mean, Jonah's younger without question. He's probably about 7 years younger than him. But that being what it is, doesn't mean Zettle's not performed well. Obviously, he was in a Pro Bowl last year. So I'll say this: it's probably ultimately a lateral move, but one that you're also probably saving a little bit of money on. All right, Scott, Holmes is Holmesing. There you go. Now kill the draft and get more studs like does. Woo! We'll go with that. I concur. Joe, no Jonah, but he will give depth. Woo! Yes, and you know what? Hey, I'll go with that, man. Depth across the board, nothing wrong with that. King of Lions, would you rather grab an lineman / D lineman or cornerback with the 29th pick overall? I'm going to guess Brandon Holmes is just going to go after whatever the best player that's there, because really at this point, what's a position you wouldn't take the best player at? I don't know, but if it was me, if you're asking just me, not Brad Holmes, I'm probably saying I would probably make a move up to get say one of the better defensive ends, and then the second round maybe make a move up to get one of the better offensive guards still available. Because really, I don't think this team has a whole lot of holes. You've got X amount of draft picks. I get you want to bring in some rookies, want to keep some of the costs down while grooming players for the future. I get all that, but at the same point, I'm going to say this. We've been looking for signs the Lions were in it to win it this offseason for next year, make the push to the Super Bowl. Like today's morning show, we said Super Bowl or bust. I'm going to say this, guys. To me, we all wanted the big, Donnell Hunter signing. I get it. Go for Ladarius Sneed. I get that. But you know what we got? We got a GM who went out and said we are going to fill as many holes across this team as possible. They might not be A+ players. They might be B+ players. But we've got so many B+ players across the board, along with some of the A+ players we've gotten from the draft. Man, it's going to be hard to find a team in the NFL that is as deep as the Detroit Lions and is skilled across the board. Last year, I think we're all going to look back at the NFC title game and say, hey, if our secondary was just a little bit stronger, we probably win this game. And you know what? Our secondary stronger. Our offense is basically unchanged. The defense seems, at least on paper, much better. I think I'll say it to you guys right now. It's our ride in the NFC to get to the Super Bowl. Somebody else is going to have to knock us off the mountain. All right, Great Lakes. Well, shoot, I was late in seeing you. Sent you a text. Yeah, you did, man, and thanks. You were one of a few people, and appreciate you sending me the text. Thank you so much for that. Rub Music, I love this. Exclamation points. Go Lions. Love you all. Love you all back, man, and hope you're having a great one, Watson. All right, Brother Ken, Green Bay, where's your big mouth now? Well, it's almost like we're developing a team specifically to win the North, and we know that will take us basically into the playoffs, home field advantage, and into the Super Bowl. Trump, the guy was a Pro Bowler last season. Yes, he was. And woo, I get why they didn't re-sign him. I get he's getting up there in age. I get all that. You want to go younger. The Lions, I think Brad Holmes knew exactly what he was doing this offseason. I don't think there's any reason to doubt it. He went for vets versus younger players in the secondary. Why? We've all debated it for a while. It takes usually most corners, not all, but the vast majority of them, a couple of seasons kind of get their feet wet and get, learn the NFL game. He didn't want to give up a couple of years to some rookies, put the team at risk. So you know what? He signed a number of proven veterans that aren't the premium ones. They're a level below him. And now you've got him doing the same thing with the offensive line with Glasgow and now this signing. So kudos to Brad Holmes, man. He is building this team up. And we still have cap space, right? X-Guy, what do you got? Where are all those Brad Holmes haters now? You know what? That's a great question. We'll see if any of them chime in. Ed W. at King Guard, they are aging out. They are. I'll go with that. Shannon, what do you got? Our first three picks, depending on what we draft, could not even play a lot next year. You're not wrong. And that's going to be what, man, think about this with the Detroit Lions. We're getting to the point we are so stacked across the board. You could actually hit some home runs, some all-pro guys that might not hit the field that much because the team is so deep. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. I still think we'll probably get 2 starters out of the draft. Maybe an argument can be made for third. But man, oh man, Brad Holmes, he is putting on a master class beyond recognition. Something no other Lions GM in the last 30 years can match, right? I mean, you're going to have to go back to the 90s to find the last time we had a GM who could do anything similar to this. And I'll say this, if he knocks the ball, the cover off the ball this year in the draft, man, I can't remember the last time in my lifetime that a GM has done so exceptionally well for this franchise over 4 years. All right, D13, bring Evan Brown back as depth for minimum. Yeah, you know what? I'd be okay with that because you got somebody with starting experience. And remember, his first year in Detroit, when he basically replaced Glasgow for part of the season, he was a Pro Bowl alternate that season at center. So to your point, D13, yeah, I'm all for it, man. All right, Dr. Detroit, it's better, but so are a lot of teams. Yeah, it is. And all the teams are improving. My question is there a team out there that you could look and say they superseded what we've done, at least on paper, this offseason? Killia, what do you got? Absolutely better team? I'll go with that, man. Trump's, heck, yes, we're better. Agreed. Bo, better today? Yes. Okay. Ed, next year, a new tackle, but this is good for now, 100%. Yeah, and they're going to have to address that probably at some point in the future. Brother Ken, Lions need Odell Beckham like they need COVID. Fair enough, man. We'll go with that. 9 drinks, better, 100%. All right. Zachary LaForest, yes, we're better. Okay, FS, for sure, man. All right, Cody, this is the best management I've seen in my 30 years of being a Lions fan. Definitely can go best player available in the draft. Agreed with that 1,000,000%. You got every opportunity afforded to you as the Detroit Lions in the upcoming draft. Big D, better every day, man. Thomas, this is awesome. Agreed. Ravens say, okay, fair enough, man. Frank, you. All right. Frank's red hot sauce. Robert is getting better all the time. It is getting better all the time. Ed W. Brad Holmes cooking smells great. It is, man. Step into the kitchen. All right, Thomas, we needed this. We did in a big way. Patrick, it's much, much better. And so far, I'm not too impressed with the Bears, Green Bay, Vikings, or Chicago. You know, hey, we're talking about that, I think, yesterday and this morning on the live show. You know, man, I'm really thinking the Bears and Vikings, assuming they're going to have rookie quarterbacks under center, they could dig themselves a bit of a hole the first half of the season, a hole they might not be able to climb out of as far as the NFC North. I'm going to guess right now, until I'm proven otherwise, it's really going to come down to Green Bay and Detroit. And Detroit is doing everything they can to make sure Green Bay and everybody else can't run on them, and it's going to make it real hard for them to pass on them. I do believe you're going to see man-to-man press coverage the vast majority of the time out of the Lions. We're going to say, if you can beat us in one-on-one situations over the course of a game, then you know what? We're going to live with it. But we're going to be probably the closest thing to the Silver Rush, if any of you are old enough to remember that from the 70s and 80s, or Blitzburg with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I really think that's the direction this defense is going, and I'm going to be excited to see it. Plus, I do believe we're going to control the ground game more this year than we did last year, and that's really going to be impressive if that holds true. Look out for a lot of play-action passes, maybe some flea flickers going deep to Jameson Williams, Amara underneath, or LaPorta or whatever, but I think, man, this season could really be special. All right, Freddie, Zeitler is a lot better than Jackson. I'll go with that, man. In certain aspects, yeah. I haven't, I'm going to be completely upfront with you. I haven't done a deep dive film on him to be able to break down his techniques. I'll try to get some of that in tonight, maybe in the morning before the live show, and I'll try to hit you guys up with some thoughts. I'm going to pay attention to his feet, his hips, especially since he's up there a little bit older in age. I'm going to want to see how much he can rotate. All right, Trumps, we could trade all of our draft picks for one player if we wanted. We could. All right, let's go in for that kicker right now. Number 1 pick in the draft is going to be a kicker. I'm joking, by the way. Freddie Wise, a huge upgrade. I'll go with that. Yes, I agree. On paper, so far, that looks good. All right, King of Lions, we definitely need a draft offensive lineman still. The entire line except Sewell are getting up there in age. I would agree with that. Yeah, then you guys heard my thoughts. Let's see what they do. But basically, could they take an offensive lineman the first round or the second round? Absolutely. And the chances are, if they get one of the premium ones, then that kid's probably starting sooner versus later. And then we're talking about some of these guys being depth, and that's just phenomenal depth across the offensive line. Thomas, top 10 guard in the league. We'll go with that. Chrome, I think it might be a wide receiver now. Who knows? Who knows, man? Troy, no way! Exclamation point. This is great news. Older player, but tired, tried and true. We'll go with that. Yep, I think that's a good statement. Thomas, plug him in next to Sewell. He might, man, and then move Glasgow or a rookie over to the left side. Jarrett, well, when this happened, yeah, it happened within the last 30 minutes or so, roughly or thereabouts. Kelly, what do you got? Gives Brad the freedom to move up in the draft and get who he wants. I would agree. He might make an aggressive move. 9 drinks, kicker at 29th. It could happen, man. Mark my words. I'll bet a Mountain Dew on it, on your dollar, though. Joe got to draft a DN in the first round. Now, we could. And especially if it's one of the premium ones, someone that this scouting department's really invested in, thinks this could be somebody who makes a difference, then you know what? I'm all for it, because that defense starts to look real good the faster you get to the quarterback. And again, especially if we're going to play press as much as I'm anticipating, with having some of these corners even play safety spots, just have more coverage ability at times. Yeah, I think it could be, man, this could be like the early 80 Raiders, if you're old enough to remember that. We'll just throw it long and get after everybody. The other team's quarterback must go down. He must go down hard. All right, Trump, Odell is like a pack of herpes. All right, well, I'm going to defer to your wisdom on that. All right, Will, this is a good signing and big upgrade at offensive line. 0 sacks allowed. Yeah, I agree. This would be a real nice add. All right, Polar Bear, we could trade up and get a star, or be smart and trade down and add multiple players. I go with that, especially if one of the quarterbacks slides to around 29, or to us at 29, I should say. Then, yeah, I could see us being an ideal spot for somebody to trade up and get the 29th pick. Thomas, move up in the draft and get Dallas Turner. That's a possibility. LOL, 9 drinks. Very good. Seth, great signing, man. I concur. Brother Ken, 9 drinks. You should do stand-up. I'm down with that, man. Jeff Reviews, this is an upgrade. It is, man, and good to see you. It's been a minute since I've seen you. All right, Rich, thanks, Dan, for keeping us updated. You're on top of it. Hey, man, I thank the Do Crew for it, because, I got a notification, but I swear to y'all, man, I probably got 5 or 6 people from the chat saying, hey, you got to get on air right now, man. Seth, what do you got? Still think we should go O-line in the draft? We still might, man. It still could happen. Rich, another 1-year deal. Yeah, not something that's going to burden us for a long time. We can always re-up them after the season if need be. All right, Will, this is a great signing and upgrade. I know he's an old man, but I still think about the experience. 0 sacks allowed in 2023. All they need now is Stephon Diggs. Man, can you imagine adding another explosive receiver like that to this team? Wow. Polar Bear, Jonah didn't get playing through. Jonah didn't like playing through injuries like Frank Ragnow. No, he didn't, man. And hey, I'm not going to question anybody for their tolerance, but I'll say this: what Frank Ragnow did last year, especially in the playoffs, man, after getting that knee shot and then the ankle rolled, man, you were not keeping that dude off the field. And then when he saw Jonah kind of, miss out a little bit, I'm sure he got some heads to turn. Ed W, we can get a kicker at 29, 1,000%. Make it a good one. Make it a real great one. Generational kicker. All right, D13, Lions must have identified someone in the first round that's generational talent. I 100% assumed we're taking Jonah's replacement at 29. It could be, man. I mean, who we're going after right now, man, that's one of the best questions out there. And I'm going to let you guys debate that. If you guys have a real good idea or a thought where Brad Holmes is going now with the draft, throw it at me, man, because you know what? Everything seems on the table at this point. All right, Seth, will Diggs on this offense would be scary. Yeah, if you could get Diggs on this, wow. Bergtime, it's great to be a Lions fan. Woo! I'll say this, man. Do we get more than a day or two at any point this offseason when they aren't doing something that makes you go, wow, they are in it to win it this year? Z Digital, what do you got? The depth chart is full. Holmes is about to be a crazy aggressive and trade up to get his guys. It could just be that, man. I know I've had some speculation where I think maybe we take a bunch of the picks and we go after 2 or 3 targeted people, offensive lineman, defensive end, and who knows after that. And I'll just say this, whatever Holmes in that scouting department, the front office does, I'm just going to look at it and go, that's probably the right move, man, because I'm not betting against them by any means. All right, Harrisville, Zeitler is just as good and more durable than Jonah. He's just older, and they'll be getting a younger guy ready to replace him in a year or two. That's probably also true. Get him now, and not put so much pressure on the rookie player. Allow him to groom and to grow. I like what you're thinking. Chrome, our OL is going to be nasty this year. Yeah, they're going to be. Last year we had some younger guys that weren't so great as backups. I don't think that's going to be the case by any means this year. Trump's agree now. We got to get the best kicker available. Yeah, get somebody with a mule leg. Polar Bear, question for another show. How do we add starters? Question mark. Do we draft an offensive tackle of the future? Maybe that's the question for the topic for tomorrow morning show. What do we do now in the draft? Everybody's going to have thoughts. If you guys want to come in and debate it tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m., join the Do Crew. All right, Walt, good evening, Coach. Back at you, Walt. Hopefully you're having a good one. Robert G., what's going on? We signed an offensive lineman and guard, Kevin Zeitler from the Baltimore Ravens, Pro Bowler last year. Will, Seth is not only scary, it would be very dangerous for any kind of defense. I'll agree with that, man. Imagine trying to stop that. All right, Thomas, maybe draft Jackson Powers Johnson and groom him behind Ragnow and Zeitler. It could be. Will he fall to 29, or do we have to trade up to get him? My guess is you probably got to get him in the mid to late teens, maybe early 20s. But could we make that happen? Yes. Brother Ken, Green Bay, you're in our crosshairs 1,000%. Yeah, we want to sweep them next year. All right, Thomas, this guy is a great player. I would agree. The Ronin 99, the move totally opens up the draft board, exclamation point. Woo! I always miss the AM show, but listen later. Hey, I'm just glad you're a part of it one way or another, man, because you're always fun to have on the show. Polar Bear, I was going to say 14-3 earlier. Now it's 15-2. Woo! There you go, man. I might have to dress up like Ric Flair for another show coming up here. Seth, what do you got? Well, I have no clue how I would go about trying to scheme a defense to stop a wide receiver core of Diggs, St. Brown, J-Mo, Laporta at tight end, and Gibbs money coming out. Yeah, as running backs. Yeah, man, you would. That would be some real pressure on that D at all times. Trump, Derek will cry. He is too old. All right, we'll leave that to Derek. They're going to get me Gilmore. You know, there does seem to be more and more speculation. I'm assuming you're talking the older Gilmore, not the Gilmore that's on the team currently. But, man, you're talking about having some versatility in that secondary. He can play safety. He can play corner. It seems like you're going that route more and more with the entire secondary because Brian Branch, I have no doubt, is going to be playing safety like he's going to be playing slot corner at times this year. I do believe you're going to see some of the other corners slide to safety at times. And you know what? I'm all for it because we get the Lions love to have Swiss Army knife players, can play all over the spot. I think the vast majority of the time in today's NFL, the day and age of just true safeties is kind of going the way of the dodo. That's why you're seeing Iffy do so well there, among other guys. And if you really are going to go, nines across the board, press coverage, in your face, man-to-man, all over the place, nobody playing single high safety, then you know what? You probably want some real good corners with great radius. And that's one thing I've commented about all the cornerback signings. You look at the wingspan on all of them. It's universal. These guys can cover radiuses with them. And they've got great hip movement. So food for thoughts. All right, Truth Teller, what do you got? Well, this team isn't deep at defensive end, so pump the brakes. But we still got the draft coming, man. Still got the draft. All right, Thomas Gibbs and Monty are smiling. They got to be, man, 100%. Ed W., a sneaky move would be to get a speedy, shifty wide receiver to use as a punt kickoff returner. Yeah, I'm down with that, man. Seth, Trump's genius. I like Derek, but, man, I don't agree with some of what he says. Hey, you're not going to agree with everybody. There's people that don't agree with me. There's people that don't agree with you. That's just part of life, man. Find the ones you like to watch and listen to. Go with that. You might not always agree with them. All right, George, I missed it. Did the Lions just sign an offensive line? They did. They got the Browns Pro Bowler from last year, Kevin Zeitler, if I'm not mispronouncing his name. So he's going to join in, and at least right now, I'm going to guess he's one of the starting guards. Congrats on over 6,000 subscribers. Thanks you, Patrick. Thank you very much. I had 61 when we started the video. Hopefully on our way to 62 now. All right, Thomas, yes, Zeitler, agreed. Freddie Wise, wide receiver now at 29 is possible, maybe probable. We'll go with that. Broski Berra, Lions love signing linemen with quad injuries. Hey, at least you get the medical staff used to treating them. Now they know how to treat everybody. So look at the positive side, Broski. Come on, man. George, what do you got? Wonderful. Exclamation point. Trump's genius. Derek is going to go off and saying we should have got a defensive end. It happens. We still might, man. I mean, I don't know what the contract terms for Zeitler are, but I want to say this morning we were doing some of the math on the morning show, and I want to say we were somewhere around like 12, 14 million. And then with the relief we got from Davis III, that puts us right around 18 to 19 million. I'm going to assume Zeitler is probably getting around 6 million. So we still may have about 10 or so million in usable cap space. We want to sign somebody else, maybe 4 or 5 million still, but we'll see what they end up doing. Who's the new sign? Pro Bowler Kevin Zeitler from the Baltimore Ravens. Seth, our Elephants will be benched in the second half. That's how much they're going to be scoring. Yeah, hey, I almost wondered. I'll throw this at you guys since you're watching. Do we go to a system sort of like the New England Patriots had during most of their Super Bowl run, where they were basically using 6 or 7 offensive linemen the vast majority of the time? Every drive, they allowed one or sometimes two of them to take a drive off. The thought was try to preserve them throughout the season and then for the postseason. I always was surprised more teams didn't pick up on that and incorporate that, because think about how much wear those guys get over the course of the 6-month season. Those, they're one of the most unique positions on the field in that they almost never come off the field unless they're injured. So are the Lions going towards that, again, to try to groom and develop younger players while also preserving the offensive line, their health throughout the season? Food for thought. Matthew, this is the most underrated signing of the offseason for them. I'll go with that, man. It's going to be up there. Seth, Will, I wouldn't compare favorably with the greatest show on turf Rams. No, but you know what? Hey, if we can be the next thing to it, I'll go with that. Matthew, I would love to see the Tyler Boyd brought over if his contract demands aren't nuts. Well, let's find out what the demands are. Trump, we take our pick of what player we wouldn't want to be here. I'm not sure who we wouldn't want, but we're going to have a lot of options. And I know we've debated a few over the last few weeks. We're going to be debating it even more for the next month leading into the draft. All right, Jamar, what do you got? Johnny Newton and Jonah Ellis, complete defensive line. BB Tackle, Greenfield, complete. Yeah, and I know I've mentioned, what's his name? Sweat from Texas. I like him a lot, man. I think, man, you have a rotation. Him, Broderick Barton, and then DJ. Wow, that is just a massive front. And don't forget, Ali McNeil, too. Will, set the offense. All right. John, what do you got? I say we move up to the top 10, take Dallas Turner or Verse. All right. Brother Ken, truth teller, patience, the pass rush will be addressed more. I would agree with that. The non-laughers, I think OBJ is a prima donna. He is old. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I think a lot of people, and I didn't watch him a ton last year. I watched him probably like 5 games. And what I could see, and that's not really paying attention from a scouting standpoint, is he's lost some of it. Wear, injuries. I just don't think he's the player he once was. Doesn't mean he couldn't be decent, but I wouldn't be paying him, at least in my opinion, big money to be a Detroit Lion. All right, Thomas, we still need depth of the offensive line and D-line. I concur. Matt, the O-line can contend with any team if they stay healthy. I will go with that. Seth, 100%. Yep. Thomas, Evan Brown would be a good veteran pickup. I wonder if it would still happen. Trump, draft a 240-pound running back. Can we find one? That's the problem. Polar Bear, Brother Ken, pass rush could be addressed by a pass rushing defensive tackle at 6'1". It's possible. Thomas, he is a graded above Jonah. Yeah, I know a couple people have mentioned that. All right, the Ronin, we will take 2 bigger corners, Kyrie Jackson, or Demetrius Richardson. Yeah, I would be okay with it because I want to say Jackson's 6'3". I know I've looked at him a little bit and I like him. Richardson, I don't remember. I want to say he's 6'2", but don't hold me to that. I don't remember off the top of my head. All right, Matt, what do you got? Just need another solid wide receiver and kicker. Down with that. Patrick, I just realized that I've been a Lions fan for 65 years. I'm going on, I think I started was like 8 or 9 or something like that. So into the high 40s, we'll put it that way. Brother Ken, Polar Bear, so true. Yes. Thomas, the Ronin 99. Yes. Polar Bear, my draft crush is Quentin Mitchell. All right, we'll go with that. Matthew, overall grade for Zeitler is 69.3. Jackson was 59.7, if anyone cares. Thank you for that very much. Gerard Brian Thomas Jr. in first. Could happen. Brother Ken, Patrick, I've been a fan since Thanksgiving 1971. All right, you got me by a couple years, not a ton, but a few. Thomas, Gerard, yes, I like that kid, 100%. Boom, says Trump. There you go. One funky move up for Latua. It's possible. I just, obviously medical staffs, you're going to have to all clear them. So far, it sounds like everybody has. I want to make a joke here and say that would be a Brad Holmes type guy, but I think we get it. Hey, we don't always agree with his moves, but they do seem to pan out. Will, we are now all we need now is trade for Stephon Diggs. Could happen, man. Rich, why was Zeitler not re-signed by Ravens? Only the Ravens can answer that one. I can't answer that one for you. Gray, wow, exclamation point, thumbs up. Great signing. Brad Holmes going for the Super Bowl now mode. I agree. I think all this offseason, the free agency window points towards he's in it to win it this year. 1,000% with that. Polar Bear, Brian Thomas Jr. is a basket catcher. All right, fair enough. Private reserves, what do you got? What happened? We signed Kevin Zeitler from the Baltimore Ravens, former Pro Bowler. John, what do you got? 2 words. Cooper Beebe, all right. Thomas, we signed Kevin Zeitler. We did. All right, Tyler, what do you got? We need a good cornerback. Well, I think we got a few. Can we add more, though? That's the real question. All right, Ryan, A+ for agency, grade for Brad Holmes and company. We'll go with that. Trump, if he sprained his ankle 5 years ago, Derek would be mad. Well, we'll leave that to him. All right, George, what do you got? DE, Chop Robinson time. He is somebody that I've looked at, and you know what? He would not be bad. I think he's going to need a little bit of grooming and seasoning, but give him some time, man. All right, Brother Ken, Cooper Beebe is a human steamroller. All right, fair enough. Fair enough. Matthew, Brad will go for the best available, and this would actually be a great time for them to trade back and now pick a lot of depth youngsters. It could be, man, and just think about it. When the final cuts happen, there are going to be a lot of guys cut from the Detroit Lions that other teams are going to be salivating over, in my opinion. All right, Marcus, you guys are acting like Zeitler is 40 years old. Yeah, and I think you're going to get him for a year. Who knows? If he performs real well, then he can always re-sign him for another year or so. But hey, I think he's in play to be a starter this year, potentially. All right, Matt, we're talking who we taking at 29. All will be revealed in about 30 days. All right, Tyler, Blake Corum to Lions. We'll see. William, go Detroit. Code Man with Dragon. What do you got? Zeitler is one of the best O-lines in football. We'll go with that. Offensive lineman. One Funky. We ain't picking at 29. We moving up for Latua. There. Let me ask you, One Funky. What do you think it would cost to move up to get him? Our first and our third? If it is, I could see that happening, man. I could. Cody Mandragon, what do you got? Detroit got a steal getting him. I agree, man. I did not see this coming. McCarthy Malone, what do you got? Hear me out. Get to Max, Mad Max now, Hutch and Cosby. Ooh, Ford Motor Madness. Yeah, get Mad Max for the Raiders. Man, what would you have to give up to get him, though? Like 2 firsts and something else? That would be nice, though. That defensive line and that entire defense at that point. Wow. That would be something. All right, Trump's 30-year-old just getting man straight. There you go. Easy Deezy. All right, what do you got? Does Zeitler make our offensive line better than last year? I think it's going to be close. I'm not going to say he's going to make it worse. I'm not going to say at this point he's going to make it better. But you know what? There's no change in it, and I'm down with that at least for now. Matt, how likely is it that we trade down from 29? I think, especially if one of the quarterbacks fall, I think it's highly possible that we get some real good offers to trade down. The skillful one, I see why Brad, that villain hoodie, wore the villain hoodie at One Pride. I agree with that. Cody Man, what do you got? He's also a heck of a lot more durable. All right, that's probably true. All right, a couple more here, and it's been about 40 minutes. Trump's, I was wondering on health. He's had some injuries, but what NFL player hasn't? Polar Bear, Sutton might be traded on draft day if we trade up for Quentin Mitchell. There's going to be a lot of corners on this team that I think are already pretty dang good. There's no way they're all going to make it. That's the downside of it. But you know what? We've got options we might not need, and that's a heck of a lot better than needing options you ain't got. All right, Brian, we got what year or years did he make the Pro Bowl? I want to say he made it last year. Somebody can check on that for me. A couple more here. Ryan, it's got to be Kingsley. Boy, I'm not even going to try that last name here today. I'll get back to you on that one. All right, Bootscar, I was hoping we might pick him up, and that we did. Thomas, one of the best pass blocking guards and most durable. I like that. Josh, go Lions 1,000%. Thomas, I was hoping all last week we would sign him. And you know what? You got your wish, man. There you go. Polar Bear, phones are ringing with fans calling in to be available for tomorrow morning. Come on in, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. The Dew crew are all out there talking about the Lions on Lions Talk Live. All right, 1 or 2 more. Moonscar, too old. Peter, Jason Peters still playing 42. He is, man. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, wrap it up here. I got to be back on the air in 11 hours. So, you know what? Hey, give me a little bit of a break and a little bit of chance to get some work done. If you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so, making that push to get to 6,200. And if you can help out, that'd be great. If you also got a free second to hit that thumbs up button, I would be thankful. If there happens to be some breaking news the rest of this night, I'll try to get on the mic for you guys as fast as possible. Otherwise, I hope you all take care. Have a great evening, and we'll see you on the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, everybody.